Hi everyone, I'm Charlie Cousins. As Grace said, I started Hooray Health Protection 2.5 years ago now. So a little bit of background why we started. So I was previously employed by a company called MetLife. It's a large group life insurer from the US, and I was looking after the large corporate brokers, trying to get them to place their business with MetLife. And at the time, we realized that no one had any focus in any companies that were under 250 employees. It was all who's the large end of the market, where are the large fees, where can we do that? So myself, business partners, we decided there was a massive niche on the SME space. So we set up to focus on SMEs and in predominantly tech. We charge absolutely no fees. So we wanted to be as different as possible to our competitors, hence the name Hooray, and being a pink logo tries to make us stand out a bit. And we've been focusing mainly on the SME employee benefits market for about 2.5 years now, which is we're starting to see growing and becoming a lot more. So yeah, happy to go through today what we're seeing in the market, what the trends are, and any questions anyone has on this.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Charlie. And yeah, thank you so much for being here today. So I guess just going back to our last session, we heard Michelle talking a lot around how healthier teams equal a healthier and more successful business. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I think 100%. It's a no-brainer. If you've got healthier employees, they're going to be happy to work for you. If you're looking after your employees' health and well-being, where they're managing and making sure that just not in working hours, you're looking after their health, their lifestyle, what's happening on there, they're going to be working harder for you. I think we are blessed in the UK to have the NHS, and I think with underfunding, overuse, the ongoing pandemic, we're seeing a huge rise in certain areas, particularly in our industry, mental health. We're seeing a huge rise in claims. And I think for employees that are trying to look to go above and beyond to do that, it's definitely a key section. And I think for your staff, if you're going to be looking after their well-being, looking after their health and making sure they're going to give it back to you and want to work for you and do it on there. So it's definitely, yeah, it's a key point on here.
And the last couple of years have been particularly turbulent, to say the least, with COVID obviously being the single biggest event that's happened and changed and affected how we live, work, how we connect with each other. What impact do you think that has or has had on employee health? And have you seen any particular trends at all?
Yeah, so definitely the key trend that we've seen, if you look at, so group income protection, which is if, for example, an employee goes off sick, it will help pay their salary. Up until, I think it was 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, just before the pandemic, it felt like forever, so I'm not sure the exact dates, that it'd always be cancer claims would be number one claim. It was the highest claiming in the industry. If you look now, by far, leader is mental health claims. So especially due to the pandemic, we've seen a huge increase in mental health claims. I think a lot of it has to do where people are working at home, they've had that support, they haven't been in work. Again, there's less taboo, people are more open to talk about it and everything on those lines. But it's taken over as the highest claim from cancer claims, which has historically been every year. We personally, I haven't seen it, but I've spoke to some of the insurers who are saying that they're still seeing an ongoing amount of long COVID claims as well, which is going to be looking into. It's something we haven't seen, but there's also been a big peak in alcohol substance abuse claims. So sadly, there's certain insurers that will cover alcohol and substance abuse, and others that won't. But I think that's, again, it's something that's becoming more open to speak about, but it's something we're seeing as a trend coming through on predominantly the group income protection claims. But I'd say for most of the industry, I think the claims that we've seen that the pandemic's changed has been mental health claims, and that's where it's going up the most.
So just a bit of a consideration in terms of those insurance packages and what they specifically cover in terms of short and longer term sick leave?
Yeah, I would say definitely whenever you're doing, for example, I'm going to say I am a broker, but even if you don't use us, if you're ever setting up the policies, it's always making sure you review the terms and conditions to see which ones they're covering. If you looked at health insurance, say Bupa is the only insurer in the whole of the UK that will cover alcohol and substance abuse. And these are things that I think as the world's changing, things are becoming more open, we're looking at different bits. It's making sure that everything's covered, what you've got on there, and having a look on those. But these are trends we're seeing. On the other insurers, it's sort of a 50-50, your income protection things on who covers it. But it's always worth checking what's covered under the plans, because there's also the support that's built in to help your employees. If we said group income, your long-term sick pay, most people don't know that there's actually like early intervention rehabilitation. They will help support your staff back to work. It's in the insurer's best interest to get employees back in. Again, if they're not paying out for a claim, it helps them. So alcohol and substance abuse, they will look at funding rehabilitation clinics, different things along those lines. And I think a lot of the times people pay for all of these policies, all these benefits, just because it's a tick box exercise, or you've been past it from the previous. But I think when you really get into it, there's so many different services that can actually support your staff that not everyone's aware of.
So definitely read the small print, and not just about not getting caught out, but also about capitalising on some of the benefits that you might not have even known that were there.
Yeah, read the small print or get someone to do it for you. Yeah. If you can do it there, instead of having to go through the documents yourself, and do it there, definitely.
Awesome. Delegation is key as well. So we've also seen people's expectations change as a result of the pandemic. So, for example, 5 days in the office, that all seems like a lifetime ago, not now. And we've seen more and more employers adopting a more flexible and hybrid approach. What shifts have you seen in terms of the benefits then that people are expecting and sort of looking for them from their employer?
Yeah, no, it's a good one. So I had to actually go on Pipe Drive to try and work out what we're seeing come through in our CRM to find out what are the requests that we've seen increased. And they were probably the actual opposite to what I would have said to come through, because I think that's the thing, you get so caught up in your day-to-day, you forget. And I see the biggest request we've had, and this is a mixture of sort of employees and employer. Number one would be your discount platforms have seemed to have been the most popular requests we've had come through. In particular, people asking for Deliveroos, Just Eats, your food takeaway services has been there. But I think with shopping, I think a lot of people is getting with the ongoing economic, but we're going lots of increase in pricing. Employers are looking, where can I do that there? We then got followed up by gym discounts. That's the most highly requested employee benefit. So when we do our sort of staff presentations, gym discounts, platforms, that's what's been requested by employees the most. And I think it's a lot of out of the lockdown as well. Like myself in particular, I spend lockdown eating way too much and drinking tea. Like, do you know what? We're finally out. I need to get back into the gym. And gym memberships aren't cheap these days. So we've had a lot of requests for that. And then again, interesting, the third one was financial well-being and pension. So we've put them in the same category, so pension alternatives. So financial well-being, I think there's so many, again, with the rise in mental health, a lot of companies have ticked that box and have started to go, do you know, we've looked at getting counselling, EAPs, health insurance. The financial well-being, and finance has been so linked to everything. You've got new companies such as BIPIT who have come out where they're a financial wellbeing platform. They can help with coaching for employees' finances and different bits along those lines. A lot of employee assistance programs are including it because the link that your finances can have. There's been one part would be the financial wellbeing. And then we're getting a lot of also in the same request, pension alternatives, where I think people are, pensions are, they're not the most, again, I'm an insurance broker saying this, pensions aren't that most exciting either. And people are looking at what alternatives have you got? Money box, for example. We've had quite a few requests for crypto. I don't know how great that is now to be looking into, but again, different alternatives. And I think it's the thing we're seeing a trend from is companies are trying to look at what are different alternatives instead of sticking to the norm. If you're looking to attract and retain the best talent, what's out there that can make us a little bit different and makes it from everyone.
So getting a little bit more creative, a little bit more forward thinking, but also linking back to the counteracting the issues actually that we spoke about earlier around mental health, and that being linked to, well, exercise and financial well-being. It kind of comes full circle.
Definitely. And I think with the financial well-being, it's something people are talking more and more about at the moment. And as I say, you're starting to see a number of providers coming out and trying to support staff because they'll have the data and see how many claims, again, mainly around the mental health claims, are going to be linked to people's financial well-being. And it's some of those things, the financial coaching, it's one of those things in the UK when we were at school, you never have any sort of like the financial management, this is how you do it, different bits here. So these companies are starting to come out. And again, you've got the platforms on the first basis. So I would say with the benefits plans, and I say it for anyone that's on the call or watching this or wants to know on that basis, would be that there's different options for everyone. So again, it's not, do you know what, this sounds great, but look, it's going to be too expensive. You have platforms which can be a cheaper alternative where employees can go on, log on, find it themselves, have the usage, have a look round. And then you have the other end of the market where it's actual financial coaches per employee. So there's not a one size fits all approach, but there's different options depending on what the budget you're looking at, different options and your priorities.
Amazing. And with people wanting things like unlimited leave and work from anywhere schemes, do you think there's still a place for the more traditional benefits? So income, life and health protection, other factors like that?
Yeah, I'm an insurance broker at heart, so I'm going to say yes. But they're definitely, I would say when you ask staff, there'll be, and again, we got a survey that we've done recently, but I think most staff, and it depends on, I'm basing this on being Silicon Brighton. We deal with a lot of predominantly tech companies, and people are most interested in the fund benefits. So Deliveroo benefits are by far the number one that we've seen. But like that's the best feedback when people have given allowances to use. You can get a Deliveroo business account now, which gives your staff different benefits. That's the one that they love. The life
followed by the gym when everyone's scared that they've got legs away from their Deliveroo.
That's the bit. You got to go hand in hand, try and get that balance. But
nice.
It doesn't always work. And the life, health, and income, it's one of these benefits where one of the feedback we had from one of our clients not that long ago at the end of the year, he said, like, do you know what? I don't think anyone's used it. And his feedback was, do you know what? That's music to my ears. That's brilliant. It's the benefits you want to have, but you actually, in a way, you want to hope that your staff don't have to use, for example. So knowing that your employees are there, happy, healthy, the thing I would say is it's all of the early interventions. And when staff actually use it as well, they see the real benefit. So if we look at sick pay, long-term sick pay, there's sections built into it to help support the employees back to work. So we had one a couple of years ago where a girl was diagnosed with epilepsy, lost her driving license, so couldn't drive to work every day. So officially she's now signed off sick. The insurers instead pay for a taxi to take her to and from work every day for a year, because not that they're saints, but for them, they're not paying out for a claim. So they will work with you to help get your staff back in and do that there. So again, for the employer, you haven't got someone off work for a long period of time. The employee, she was happy because she thought, do you know, I didn't want to stay at home for a year. And again, staff don't have to take on that added workload, look at hiring more. There is definitely still a space for it, but I think it's when you're going to be speaking to your employees, it's definitely the benefits they'll be more looking at will probably be your more fun and have benefits, but then it's also taking into account, are they paying for these insurances with their mortgage? Are they paying for this personally? And I think with employee benefits, the thing that we tend to find is every single company is unique. If you ever meet anyone, they tell you this is the best option for your business, it's completely wrong, because you'll find, like for us ourselves, if I look at our team, we've got a few staff who early 20s, they don't mind. They're like, do you know what? I don't want life insurance. I want this. I prefer more socials. I prefer give me extra money. But then we've got some others who are sort of early 40s who have got family and say, do you know what? These are the most important benefits for me. Having this, if I've got any health conditions, anything like that, this is covered here. So it's trying to find that approach And it's also making sure that staff are aware of everything that covers. You say younger workforce, group life insurance these days. Canada Life give every employee 10 counselling sessions a year with the group life. So it might be more important for the younger staff. It's making sure that you know everything and you've got something that covers off for everyone.
Fantastic. And then let's say then that some people within this group or listening online are starting to look at their employee benefit proposition, and we want those benefits to align with our values and our culture. Where do we even start with all of that?
Yeah, I think for that one, it's really to ask your employees are going to make your sort of values and culture and make the business. It's asking them, because at the end of the day, if your staff don't buy into it, it's not going to be successful. And they're the ones that are really promoting the brand and culture. So I think it's actually speaking to your staff and finding out what is it that they want, what is it they're looking for. We had one 6 months ago, the highest sort of engagement we've ever seen on a benefits plan was one company had about 20 employees. They sent all remote working, and they sent everyone through the post a Kit Kat and a link to a survey. It was like, take a break, go on, fill out this survey and let us know what you actually want from the business. And it wasn't just there on a score of 1 to 5. It was which benefits for you, which is here. Again, I think for sending it through, saying to employees, look, take a bit of time, have a Kit Kat, take a break and just tell us what you want. They were able to break it down and really find out what it is. Because I think if you can go in and say, do you know what, these are the benefits we want, you might speak to everyone. It turns out that it's something completely different to what they've said. So it's when you're finding out about your culture and everything, it's your staff that's really going to make that. And I think, in my opinion, the best way to do it is to go to a broker, get the pricing first. Because the other thing I would say is, again, finance directors are going to have a different opinion when they're going through this. So before you send out the survey and then you find out everyone wants, say, health insurance and it turns out it's too expensive, I've always said, find out what the prices are first. You can see, okay, these are in my budget, these are in my budgets. And the ones that are affordable and that you can put in your budget, send those out to your employees to get the questionnaire. Because again, everyone's at a different journey. You might be just starting up, bootstrapping, where do you know what the finances, you want to be counting every penny, or you may have just had a round of funding when you're thinking, do you know what, we can go out spending galore. So I would say before speaking to your staff, always finding out the prices of what they are and what can be covered under them is another thing.
Basically, don't send out a survey if you're not ready to listen to the answers.
Definitely. Yeah, it's always the best way to do it there. I know sometimes you can tend to choose towards, but we did it ourselves and tend to look at the ones that you think, oh, I want that, but you need to double check also with the staff what they want.
And then what happens if everyone comes back and wants completely different things? So, you know, how do you accommodate all of those different wants and needs?
Yeah, so there's lots of different things. So the market's it's changing constantly, and there's lots of different things going on. There's different options. One of the ones that we've seen recently, so we work as the insurance broker for a new platform provider, and they're called thanksben.com. So thanksben.com is all about giving staff the option to choose whatever they like. So all of your employees would have a platform, and instead of you choosing the benefits for them, they're all given a monthly budget. And with that monthly budget, Ben have partnered up with thousands of different companies. So you can log onto the platform and spend the money where you want to spend it. So for example, we've built a flexible cash plan for them. So the cash plans cover your day-to-day medical expenses, your dental, your opticals, and your employees can buy in and opt into this. So say, for example, they've got £100 a month, you could do £20 onto there. They then have different things such as counselling, mental health benefits, the well-being. They have your education and support benefits that can be done on there. And then they have different shopping. So you get a virtual card online. So when you log into your account, virtual card. So if you wanted to say, for example, use a gym membership, you can use that money for a gym membership. They also have, they were one of the ones that led it. Then you've got on the other side, they have all the deliveries and Just Eats and everything, which can be done on there. I think it's pretty much you can use it for any benefit or any partner except from sort of financial or gambling. But you can also, as an employer, set limits on this is where I want my staff to be able to actually spend the money. So, for example, if you say, look, we only want them to spend £50 on health and well-being, £25 on financial well-being, and then the rest can be used anywhere. That's another option they have. So I think it's one of those where whatever you're looking for, there are different options to do it on that basis. We do have that where it comes back and it's completely different all of the time. And I think it's trying to then dig down and find out what different options are there, what alternatives and other bits we can do on that one for you.
Sorry about that.
Sorry.
No, that's amazing. Love the sound of a bit of a pick a mix employee benefits package. So everyone gets what they want, essentially.
Yeah, it's giving employees the chance to say, this is what I want, this is the different options, and do it there. Because I think it's quite often everyone can get stuck in the benefits will be used as a tick box to make your job specs look as again, we're all trying, there's no being around the bush, we all want to attract and retain the best talent. And when we're looking to attract and retain the best talent on there, what we're going to be doing is how can we make the job spec look as good as possible? How can we get as many benefits as possible? And I think that's the thing is it's trying to find that middle ground, because you do still want that to look appealing. If you put on there flexible benefits, do it on there, works there. Thank you. I've just seen Victoria's put it in. I was just about to type in the thanks, Ben, but we got that in the box there. So yeah, we deal with the insurances for them for all of their policies. So if you message and say that we send you over, they'll be happy to help out and go through bits.
Oh, amazing. Thank you. Yeah, sounds like a fantastic initiative. And thank you for the link, Vicky, as well. So is there a way to measure return on investment for employee benefits? And then where do we start with that if the answer is yes?
Yeah, it's different. I'll be honest, and this is my personal opinion. For SMEs, I think it's very, very challenging. And out of the companies that we do, it's hard to do this because, first off, there's so much data for you to assess when managing. And again, I know probably all of you lot hearing this, you're going to think this is going to be useless with going back to a finance director who's just going to say, well, if I can't see a return of investment, you're not getting the sign off. And I feel your pain. We've been in many meetings doing this. But for an SME, it's very challenging because first, you're going to have to measure, did it help you attract new employees? So how many of your staff looked at the benefits and thought, do you know what, this is something I need to do? Again, especially those potentially are claiming at the moment, have family. For the insurance aspect, how much did that go in? Again, with retention, how many people have been poached elsewhere and they've looked at it, thought, do you know what, benefits are a lot better where I am. Then your insurance policies as well. The health insurance in particular for SMEs, you won't be told by the insurers who's using the policy, so you won't understand who's claiming. And that's to protect the employee's confidentiality, because you don't want, an employee doesn't want to go, I would like to use the mental health aspect. Oh, I know my employer is going to get a list to say I've used this many. So then again, at the end of the year, we can, even us as a broker, we can see if it's been used or not. You get an idea, but it won't break it down. So I'd say for SMEs, it's very hard to manage the return of investment. And I think the one thing that we say in meetings is you sort of sometimes need to look past the numbers and try and work out how much is it impacting your team? Are people using it? Are they confident doing it there? How much of a tool has it been used? Goes back to our first point. If you've got happy employees, if you've got employees that know that you're supporting them, if, for example, you needed to make a claim on mental health, that support's there. And it's not just, all right, during 9 to 5, we're here to talk. There's that extra bit to help you out of working hours. So Yeah, again, as I say, finance directors, that's if you go back and say, let's look past the numbers, you're going to lose them there. So I'm sorry, I can't help on that. But I would say for myself personally, large corporates, if you've got over 250 staff, you can, because there's lots of reporting they have, it's built in, but because it's the larger numbers, it's less easy to identify people. When it's smaller, they don't want to talk about claims or give away too much information on there. So we do have the assessment each year and have the review, but I think this, for an SME, I'm going to be genuinely honest, I think there's just too much for you to be able to track. And it's sometimes having to go, look past the numbers and see what your staff are feeling about it and are they happy with the benefits.
And actually, whilst that's sort of beyond the direct numbers, it sounds like things around employee satisfaction questionnaires, employee sentiment surveys, as a sort of result of, having those good benefits and sort of online support in addition to doing the day job can sort of all link back to it, even if it's slightly more tenuous than the direct numbers, which we know the FDs will want to see.
Yeah, and there. But no, there are reports, and again, I would say there is budget. So if anyone, it's a key aspect. There are companies out there that can support. There is, I can't remember the name of it, and it's good to get ready. And there is one that actually helps you track the return on investment, but it's not cheap. So it is hiring someone to do the full date. So anything, again, with the benefits world, there is always a possibility. For us, I think the one thing I would say is, and I know a lot of people on this call are going to be startups, SMEs. For us, what we're trying to do is when we start your benefits plan is to get a sustainable benefit. So if we can start you on there, and how can we grow and look on that basis? Because a lot of companies come in and say, do you know, I want to take out everything straight away. And we have to say, do you know what, if you're planning to grow, those prices are going to go up as you grow as well. So let's look at this on a yearly basis and different options and see it on that one. And you can really start to get a feel of it instead of going, let's offer everything straight away and there's nothing to build on, and costs may spiral out of control a bit more.
Brilliant. So talking about that, I guess it'd be good to understand some of those more practical considerations that people will want to consider before starting to invest. So how much does it cost? Appreciate that's a very grey area, but is it super expensive?
No, so and again, when it comes to costs, everyone's going to have their own opinion of what's really expensive, what's not. So we did a survey 6 months ago. So if you go onto, and you can access it, it's completely free on hoorayinsurance.co.uk, then on our knowledge hub, and it's called What Workers Want. And it was a survey of 620 startup employees about the benefits they actually wanted, which were the most desired benefits. And we worked in partnership with our client Unmind, the insurer Canada Life, and the platform provider Thanks Ben. And we got together a number of prices and established the average for a new business taking out group life insurance to cover all employees. The average cost was £1,300 a year. So the average cost to cover all your staff. The average number of employees on that was 10 employees. Now, group benefits are a lot cheaper than individual. So a lot of you, if you worked out the cost of what you're paying in your individual, if you looked at it compared on the group market, it's so much cheaper because individual, its average age is a lot higher for the people that take out the plans, which means there's more claims. Group schemes are taken out by businesses, a lot of large corporates in particular, who are just throwing the money at that. So it's a lot more profitable. The premiums are a lot lower. Group income protection, it was £2,000 a year for a new plan. And then the private health insurance. So just to point out, and again, some of you will be thinking there's some different prices, different bits. So it works out on average, the cost we have is on around £30 per employee per month. Now, I'd like to caveat one of the reasons why that's a lot. Some of you are probably thinking that's a lot cheaper than we're doing. So at Hooray, we predominantly deal with tech companies. So we have a preferred provider arrangement. So we've built a product with a company. So it's called Freedom, which is Allianz's brand. So if you take out Bupa in the UK, you'd be put in with 10,000 other businesses. You're treated as one big pot. So the good news is if you have lots of claims, the losses are spread across everyone. But the bad news is if you don't have many claims, you're paying for everyone else's. So we established that with the tech industry, which is where most of our clients are, we've then created our own products. So you get put into a group with just other tech companies. So the average age is lower, the claims are lower, and you've got that specialist. So it works out on average about £30 per employee per month for a higher level of cover. So we can look at that. But again, there is always a different approach for everyone. So you've got cash plans as well, which won't cover your more serious medical conditions. But again, they can look at your day-to-day expenses and covering it on that one. So I'd say for anyone who is thinking, do you know what, I'd love to get a benefits package, but the budget is not really there, you're welcome to message, and we can always say, look, we don't charge any fees. Here's the quote. We're paid by the insurers for placing business with them. So we can always have a look and see what options are there. But there's always something for anyone at any size budget you've got on that one.
Actually, that goes on to my next question. You've talked a little bit around economies of scale,
Yes.
But how many employees do we even sort of need to start with to be thinking about this? What's the ideal scenario and what's practically possible as well?
Yeah, no, it's good. So from 2 employees upwards. So if you're, again, sole trade or one man band, we can help, but you won't benefit from the great rates and everything. It's 2 upwards. Now, if we look at the insurance, out of the sort of 20 insurers, there's only about 3 of them that will work with companies with 2 employees upwards. But it's a starting point and it's still going to be competitive rates. Platforms, discount schemes, again, it's 2 employees. You've got some employee benefit discount platforms we work from start at £500 to cover all the discounts. Then you've got the other end of the market where it's £50,000 a year. So again, you can have as many employees as you like, but you might be paying that extra cost. But insurance is 2 employees upwards, discount schemes, 2 employees upwards, there'll be the prices on that one. But I'll be honest, as you can imagine, insurers, the more employees you have, the better deals that you actually get. So our job is, as a broker, every year we review it again, because we might place you with one insurer 1 year or one discount scheme 1 year. In a year's time, you've grown an extra 10 people. And then the other insurer go, do you know, now we're interested in doing it here. So it's keeping on top of that and seeing what different options are available each year.
And it sounds like thinking about the long term from the start as well in terms of that scalability piece. So yes, we're 2 now, but at what stage do you want to be 50? And how is that projection going to look further down the line?
100, and it's one of the things that we had a call with Kai the other day, and they're like, all right, the average is everyone offers 4 times life insurance. Let's do it. And we go, why don't you offer 2 times now? In a year's time, see what your head count's going to be, and then you can look at 4 times and increasing it on there. Because instead of just going for everything straight away, each year, if you can add to those benefits and start to increase them slowly but surely, it'll give you the different offers. We do try to not switch you, because again, it can get quite annoying if you've got all your benefits with one and then you move them to another. We try not to, but yeah, unfortunately, the more people you get, the better it gets. So, but again, it's even at 2 staff, there's a huge amount of benefits you can get added on, and you benefit from the discounted rates.
I guess back to that retention piece as well. If you're continually looking at building on what you're doing year on year, and staff can see that as they grow within the business, that's an extra reason to stay and understand what that investment looks like. Definitely,
it's nice to see. So again, for us, we're only 2 years, and it's every time we go build on a new benefits, it's nice to sort of growing along with anyone, instead of just at previous corporates I've been at, everything stayed the same the 5 years I was there. There was never really any changes, because they were like, oh, well, we've got everything, it's done and dusted. So it's also nice to, as the company's growing, you see those benefits build and grow with it.
Amazing. And does everyone have to share their medical details?
No, so this is the question we get asked probably the most, and it's no for all of the products. So for group life insurance, as if anyone's taken out an individual policy, you know that they'll ask you your health questions, your life, medical history, do you smoke, do you drink, all of this. It's just a generic groups questions for life and income. So they'll say, has anyone had a heart attack, cancer, or stroke in the last 12 months? No. Is everyone active at work? Yes. No one's off long-term sick? No. Done. You've automatically covered up to £500,000. The group insurers don't want to do any of the underwriting. They don't want to go through each and every person because it's more time consuming. And as an SME, they're targeting the large companies with these generous discounts and everything, but they have to offer it to everyone. So it's making the most of it. Health insurance, it's the exact same. You've got one option, a cheaper option, which says you can exclude any pre-existing conditions in the last 5 years for the first 2 years. Fantastic, that's done. Or you've then got the more expensive option where it just says, do you know what, covered for everything, but they'll charge more. Until you get to very high sums, there'd be no questions answered. It's generic questions. It's not personal questions about everyone in your business. Because again, there are options out there where you can do that, but we know people who do it, but I don't think there's anything worse than you start your first day and then you tell, oh, do you not hear all your benefits? Please, can you fill out this health questionnaire? It's going to ask you what you do at the weekend, how much you drink, how much you smoke, how much you exercise. And we've heard from people before, it's a bit daunting. So many of those forms come back blank and you think, I understand. If you start a first day and your employer's giving you that form, it's not something you want to do. And it's not something you're really going to feel comfortable with returning. So no, the majority of things in the market now, it's a generic question asked to whoever's setting up the plan, and then they take it from there.
Amazing. So it sounds like the best thing to do if people aren't sure, and regardless of what the size of the business is, where they are in that growth journey and what they're trying to achieve, just get in touch and have a bit of a conversation rather than sort of being scared off by it or thinking it might not be applicable to them.
Yeah, I'd say for anyone, again, some of you may have got your own brokers and different bits. The one thing with insurance, the biggest thing I would take away is only answer what you've been asked. So if they ask you a question, answer it. But so many times people over disclose things and you think, I don't want to, no, you shouldn't have said that. I think with that one, it's if you're trying to find out, do you know, what can we get? Find an expert to do it there. And whatever they ask you, just answer the questions again. It's the same with all insurance products. It's ask what's been asked for you and you can do it there, but you can get a lot of benefits. If you are, especially smaller businesses, if there's two of you, if you and a business partner, the amount you two are probably paying on an individual plan yourself, it'll be so much cheaper to put it as a business plan and claim it as a business expense. So definitely it's the way around it to use these benefits to your advantage.
Brilliant. Sounds like you'd make a good lawyer as well as a broker with your answer what's been asked of you. Love that as a key takeaway.
It's honestly, it's just the amount of times we set up plans for people and then they'll disclose something. You go, no, we don't need to know that. just please don't say it. But again, with insurance, it's if you can get the benefits that all these large companies get, and this is the one reason we set up is the whole insurance is targeted around large corporates, but again, they have to treat everyone fairly, so it has to be offered to SMEs. So even if it's something you're not considering for the long term, you just want to get rough prices, yeah, definitely get in touch. We're happy to help as well.
That's amazing. It's been so insightful. Thank you so much.